Well, thank you for joining us. My name is Stephen Hodgson,
And I'm Dominic Tomchuk.
and today we're going to be talking a little bit about different cultural influences and how they affect gait and posture.
So our first thesis that we have is culture's influence on the amount of manual labor as well as emphasis on elaborate architecture will have a large influence on movement and will manifest itself in things like increased ankle range of motion, basis support, and
Mhm.
different mechanical strategies.
Yeah, and so the first example we have of culture is going to be that the building of the temples of Hermesi. So these are very extravagant, beautiful pieces of work that these pharaohs built, and it took often several years, up to 5 to 10 years, just because of how much emphasis the culture had on the beautiful aspects of them, and so they took a lot of time. And there's different ways that we'll look at in the culture and how it affects things.
Yeah, and it's really cool to see how much time it took and how beautiful these structures are and different things that they use, like interesting scaffolding things that they used in line of pulley, which really influenced and affected their body
Yeah.
mechanics. And we'll see a few examples of these in the pictures that we have. You can see the picture of the temple on the right and how intricate all the pieces are and how many different types of people are working on it. And if we zoom in on a couple of these different workers, we can see the body mechanics that they're using to do the work. So if the guy on the left, the picture on the left, you can see the gentleman pulling on a rope to get a piece of wood up the scaffolding. And if we look at his body mechanics, we can see that increased dorsiflexion on that back foot, as well as a wide base of support. And this is important to help him obviously fulfill his work and get the best mechanical advantage as he bends down to get in that line of pull, again, to get that best mechanical advantage.
Yeah, I would definitely have to agree. You can see a lot of different aspects of a gait and movement patterns here in order to better take advantage of their mechanics. And so you can actually look at a lot of these people are pulling instead of pushing. And so you can actually see it in this gentleman down here on the bottom right as well. So it's going to be more important for them to pull and really get back on their feet in order to have the best mechanical advantage to get these things done. And so it's actually quite interesting to see how those cultures kind of react and have different body mechanics for various tasks. And it's really interesting to see how it compares to our culture because we really don't have to do those type of heavy lifting movements anymore because our culture as a whole is some people build buildings more specialized, so other people have different jobs. You don't really have everybody collectively working to build big buildings like that.
Right, and the people that actually are doing this type of work, this type of construction, think about all the machines that we have today,
Right.
all these things that we don't even have to half the time get out of a seat to do some of this lifting, some of this pulling.
Right.
So just to see the difference, our bodies don't have to adapt. We don't have to do some of this lifting and this range of motion. So
Yeah, definitely. And so, next we'll just segue right into our next discussion. And then, this one we're going to take a little bit of a different route and look at the environment. And so, how a certain environment, culture, and environments can impact posture instead of gait. And so, we're really going to talk about how a desert type setting, a hunter or gatherer environment, and how that could have a huge impact on the components of posture, such as like a kyphotic posture, that hunched over posture, as well as
mhm.
increased ankle flexibility, in order to have adequate survival skills. So we'll see those.
Yeah, I completely agree. And we can see this in the Aborigines of the Australian desert and the various types of tasks and gathering and things that they have to perform. And we have a picture of this to show you. We can see in this picture here this gentleman hunched over this kangaroo. Again, looking at the alignment of his back, that kyphotic posture that he has, as well as the increased, again, dorsiflexion. And this is important because if you think about it, him being in a desert, hunting and gathering, all this stuff takes place on the ground. Deserts don't have big tall trees where you're reaching over. They don't have bushes where you're reaching across your body. And you can imagine the toll that this takes on a body over the years.
Yeah, that picture really does show a lot of the different environmental aspects and how they impact different body mechanics. And
hmm
it's really interesting to see how it kind of compares to our lives as well, because we're not really doing those things. We don't have to search for our food. We're not down gathering. We go out and buy our food,
Right.
and things are very much tailored to and adapted to eye level. So different signs, various things on shelves, even everything's adapted for eye level because over the years we figured out that hunched over posture can lead to detrimental things.
Right.
And I just think it's really interesting to learn about all these different topics and different environmental and cultural aspects. Do you think they have any importance for us as PTs in the future?
Yeah, I mean, we got to realize and we got to think about all the different, jobs and careers that people have and how it can take a toll um, on their posture, on their gait. Like if we look at both of our examples we have, the Aborigines in the Australian desert, how over the years, how that kyphotic back can take its toll. So we got to keep in mind as we do our exercises and stuff like that to help our patients, kind of counteract that.
Yeah, I would definitely have to agree. It's something that's very useful to realize, we're treating people, not just,
Right.
physical beings that physiological things
Mm-hmm.
happen to. They have a story behind them. Everybody has their own culture, their different tendency to do things. We need to realize that these can have an impact on their bodies.
Right. Well, that's all we got for you today. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.